So, yeah, just been following the social media about this crazy journey. So, pretty much, you applied to be a Google rep, the people that call us nonstop and tell us to spend more at Teleperformance, technically the call center they subcontract to do their dirty work, and then also talk to somebody that worked there just to get to real. I mean, we're all wondering like, what does it take to work there? What do they do? How many accounts do they actually manage? I guess just tell us about that craziness that you've been posting.
I mean, those were basically the questions I asked myself, and I got hounded by teleperformance ads on Instagram. I got to a point where I just on a whim decided to apply. I just wanted to see how far I could get in the process. I never expected to get the job offer because I put in all my real details, my CV. It would have
Oh,
taken them a, like a Google search to find out that I was probably not gonna be interested in taking the job.
I don't think they use Google there. Uh,
Well,
apparently not.
apparently not. Yeah, but then the whole process went by super, super fast. So it was three interviews, two with the HR lady. The first was the initial phone screening. They just went over my motivation and if I was eligible to work in Spain, if I was flexible enough to move there. And the
Okay.
second one went into a bit more detail about my prior work experience. Um, it got fairly clear to me at that stage already that they weren't interested in people actually um, experienced in Google Ads. So all the questions basically were about sales experience, how I did under pressure, if I had prior work experience where I had to hit hard targets,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
So, did they ask anything about prior digital marketing, Google Ads specifically, anything relevant to marketing for to work it to be a Google rep, really?
Truth be told, they did. Yeah, we went
Okay.
through
Uh,
my we went over my CV and I explained to them what I did, the prior agency experience, the freelance experience that I had, the types of clients that I work with. Um, so that was, yeah, we talked about that, but it wasn't, I never got the impression that that was the main focus of the interview. It was just, okay, he has prior Google Ads experience. That's probably good.
do you have to have prior Google Ads experience to work there?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. Don't want to lie to you here, but I think the job ad specifically stated that you don't need prior Google Ads experience. They were
Okay.
going to they were going to train you up and then put you to work.
Okay. Yeah, we all suspected it, but it's so shocking that the people that call us very experienced PPC people and business owners and the people that call and say I am your Google rep, I work at Google. Well, it's their signature said teleperformance, probably because Google got sued, but it's at google.com.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I don't know if they got sued. I'm not an attorney, disclaimer, but I'm just guessing, just for YouTube. Um, but yeah, everyone thinks this is Google. Google is calling me. This is an expert, and the job, you don't need any Google experience. You just jump in, and I think you found. I was re-looking over the notes. The job just or when you got to the end of the job, the reps managed 330 accounts.
Absolutely shocking. I mean,
Wow.
everything got confirmed. Like all the suspicions that we had basically got confirmed. So that
Yeah.
wasn't super big surprise. We all knew probably we were dealing with juniors who didn't have a lot of experience on the product. They were basically working for a Google Ads sweatshop,
Yeah.
um, speed dialing companies and trying to get them to opt into, auto-applied recommendations, upping the budget, setting up broad match, stuff like that. We've experienced that over and over again. So that wasn't the big surprise, but the big surprise was the sheer number of accounts that you have to work with, over 300.
Yeah, I was guessing 100. I figured it was a high number, and they've got their auto dialer. I'm
Yep.
guessing they didn't look at accounts. It just popped in because I had ones that would call me. It was a car repair shop, and they'd go into a car dealership. They skimmed it for half a second and say, let's help that car
Mhm.
dealership sell more calls, or more cars.
Yep.
It's like this is a repair shop. For the ones that did put a little bit of effort, it's like you didn't even. It is about cars, but completely different goal. If they even do that,
I don't think they have the time to deep dive into the accounts.
man.
Probably. If I was to guess, I'd say they don't have the time. Um, it's just sort by spend, see how many recommendations people are already opted in. Did they get contacted previously? What was the reply? Um, and then just call them up.
Yeah, I, 330 is
That's a crazy high
that's
number.
insane to call that. I mean, I knew it was a big number and it was a
Yeah,
call
yeah.
center and it was a script, but that's so bad. And unfortunately, you know, people that we're PPC managers. That's our job. We've been doing it for years. We know better. We roll our eyes. It's like, what's their script today? But a lot of business owners don't. They say, I set up an account. I spent 500. I spent 1,000. Wow, Google's
Yep.
calling me. This is great.
And that's when you see the posts on Reddit, hey, I got in contact with a rep from Google and he set up my account or he did
Yeah,
supposed improvements and everything just tanked afterwards and I could never get it back to normal.
yeah. That's what I don't get is why a billion dollar company they thought this was a good idea and they've done this for many years. I kind of thought, what if Apple said the iPhone lasts too long, make it fall apart in a month, we'll sell more iPhones. And yes, they will, because if it lasts several years, you don't always buy one, but if it breaks in a month, people will buy more initially, and then long term they'll say iPhones break in a month, don't buy them, and then they won't sell them at all. Kind of like Google, they'll get a spike, people will cancel and say Google doesn't work. I don't understand the long
Well,
term play here.
we can only speculate, right? I mean, it's not that there are many options to choose from besides
Yeah.
Google, right? I think Bing has seen an uptick now with ChatGPT, and if you're an e-com, obviously there's always Amazon or Meta, but yeah, they have the lion's share of the market, so you have no other choice but to go to Google, I
Yeah.
think. And if you're dealing with over 300 accounts and the spend is between 1K to 5K a month, um, I don't think you could go with dedicated reps. I don't think Google wants to go with dedicated reps that they employ themselves. It's a means for them to cut costs. It's much more affordable, much cheaper for them to hire third-party vendors and have them call up, the small accounts.
Yeah, it's interesting. None of our big accounts ever get calls. The bigger spends, and I always wondered that. Why wouldn't they go with that? It's always the 1,000 a month, the 3,000 a month, which we don't even have that many of anymore. They're kind of the legacy ones that,
Yep,
from the agency side, we don't like the fire the little guys. They're just grandfathered in, but $1,000 a month that have been here for years, and it just it's a small shop. We get calls
sure.
on that account a lot, and our big ones, they never email, nothing. It's very strange to me.
I have no idea, to be honest. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I always thought that was strange. And then just I understand now with over 300 accounts, it happens every single quarter. I get a new account. They
Mm,
call for an account that is paused. It's still in our MCC, and the client, the smaller ones, they had to pause or they turn it on and off. This is usually a little one. Um, as to why they would do that, but they call me on an account that is paused and has been paused for several months, talking about let's work on this, let's work on that. It's like, Did you? It's paused. Did you realize that?
That's so funny. So I get that a lot on my personal account. Like it's a little test account that I obviously every PPC specialist has
Yeah.
their own test account. And I set up YouTube. I set up all these different things just to mess with them and see if I can break them and how I can make them work.
Yeah.
But usually like pretty much everything is paused. So I don't get the calls, but I get emails. Hey, Boris, I've looked into your account and I've seen many points of optimization. I'm like, sure, you've seen that. I should unpause all my campaigns, right?
Yeah.
That's the
Start with
optimization.
unpausing. It's like,
Start
thanks.
with unpausing.
Good thing you
I
were
mean,
here.
it's in the recommendations these days as well. Like if you have paused campaigns, none of your campaigns are getting impressions. Fix
Yeah.
it.
Have you
So that's
seen when you we do this some of our accounts they have a very strict to the dollar budget for clients that
yeah.
$10,000, so a lot of times the 30th or the 29th they'll get paused, and we've
Okay.
already discussed it with the client saying, hey, it'd spend another 100 or two, but they're strict, so a lot of times maybe the 30th they'll pause and they're okay with that, reset it on the first. That's just some unique clients. But I don't know if you've seen this inside the dashboard. When you pause everything, that alert comes up and it says schedule a call. Let's work on
I've
it.
never seen that.
It's recent. It's if you pause everything, it's this panic. Wait! Don't pause. Schedule a call. A Google rep will help you. Let's talk about your optimization score. If you maybe try that in your small test account, or if you do have, or maybe just do it on a client for fun. Turn it off and back on really quick, or maybe
Well, I'll
don't do
totally
that with
do
a
that.
client. But yeah, there's a pop up now saying don't pause. Schedule a call right now.
No, I've never seen that, but I might try that on my personal one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That
just desperate. That one's new, and I think that's very desperate. Kind of, you're in the account. Don't pause. Call us, and we'll tell you to spend more. Turn auto apply recommendation on. What exactly is going to correct you? And this was probably a year ago. I had more aggressive reps that are in the rotation. We would get calls or emails for those clients with strict budgets on the 30th or the 29th. We pause them. They hit their number and the Google rep was panicking. Hey, this account is paused. One of them said, let's get the client on the phone now and get them to turn it back on. They're missing clicks.
as if they cared about clicks.
Yeah, the client is
What's that
aware.
even?
Some clients say, we want to spend 10,000 a month, and we now have scripts that do it. But when they hit that dollar, it turns it off. And we've discussed this every single month, saying, hey, you'll spend 10,200, 10,350. You don't want to not run on the last day of the month. And a few of them, I don't know, maybe the CFO or accounting department, they have a set dollar, and they don't like that. You spent 10,237 or something. It better be right on the dollar. And we're aware of that, and the client's aware of that, and
Yep.
Google doesn't like paused accounts. So yeah,
So good.
that's just crazy. Want to
Oh yeah.
circle back real quick. We talked about all the
Sure.
crazy Google
Yeah.
stuff just to give you a boost. Appreciate you doing this and all the attention. I guess we brushed over your experience, but just tell everybody more about kind of your background in PPC and plug for your website or whatever you want to plug.
Uh, Honestly, I don't want to plug anything. I mean, I've been doing Google Ads for I think 13, approaching 14 years now.
Oh wow.
I've done everything from agency side, client side, SMBs to seven, eight figure accounts, some of the biggest brands in the world to like my own shabby little campaigns, basically. Nowadays, I'm a freelancer. I'm a consultant and coach. And I think the best way to reach or get in touch with me is through LinkedIn.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'll put a link in the description, or your website or anything like that. Want to give you some credit. You're too humble to plug anything and say, buy my course today only, sale
I
ends.
don't I don't have a course. I don't have a course. I'm working on that though. I'm thinking of working on it.
Yeah, yeah. No, we need more good PPCs to write courses.
Oh
There's
yeah.
lots of people that just made one weekend after scraping YouTube, and that's neat. But want more good PPCs to make them, and some good content. Like I mentioned, Solutions 8, they have good YouTube channel.
Stellar. Yeah, yeah.
Like oh well, actually we'll go through that. People are posting a lot more stuff, but need more good ones. We of course have Online Advertising Academy. Put a link in the description, and then Falcon Digital Marketing is our agency that kind of feeds into the course. And I won't plug it anymore because I don't want to do that. Just check the description for other things. But yeah, I like that an experienced PPC is posting a lot of stuff, and a lot more of them are. Because I remember when YouTube wasn't as big of a thing, it was conferences. There was all the people that spoke at conferences. There's Brad Geddes. I had the ultimate Google AdWords thing. He stopped updating them, but that gigantic book, and you'd see him, and you'd see all these legends, with 20 years of experience. You'd go to SMX, and you'd went to a conference, and then all of a sudden,
Yeah, sure.
YouTube popped up, and everyone's an expert. It's like, I've never heard of some of these YouTubers, and then it's like, where SMX made a video like 5 years ago. They kind of abandoned YouTube. I wish they would do one. Or PPC Town Hall, they're regular. I like them.
Yeah.
But I wish there's kind of YouTube experts that quickly throw out, they quickly learn Google and throw something out. And then there's Google experts that I wish they would learn YouTube and try to put
Okay, I
more
get
stuff
that. Yeah,
out.
yeah.
I don't know if you've seen something similar. Just we're not good at YouTube, so see a video with 100 views, best video you've ever seen. The one with 500,000, kind of junk, not good.
Yeah, I've thought of doing YouTube, but I mean, in my case, it'd probably be a German channel. So I'm not sure if that's going to be of any interest to you. But like all the guys I'm in touch with and that I consider like good PPCers are active on LinkedIn. Not many of them
Yeah,
actually have
LinkedIn.
their own YouTube channel. I think it comes from, at least in my case, from camera shyness, basically. Um,
Yeah,
so I'm just much more comfortable writing content and doing like the funny educational things, something with memes. I think, there's something worthwhile um, about being entertaining and still educating people at the same time. That's sort
yeah.
of the path that I found for myself. And yeah, I've been looking into doing more or doing YouTube. Um, it's just that it's scary to put yourself out there, I think.
Yeah, I could understand that.
Yeah.
And most of the time, actually, I'm not in my videos. More so, I just don't care to put my own face in it. No offense to everybody where they are front and center.
Hmm.
That's the way they want to do it, and that's fine. But
Yep.
most of the time, I just want to get the content out there. I don't think I'm hardly in any of my own content. I mean, this one's an interview, so it wouldn't really make
Yep.
sense to stare at, I don't know, a dashboard or something. We had to do the
Dashboard.
classic two people on Zoom. That's
Yep.
all the rage right now. But or four people. No, it's always four people, and then stuff at the bottom. That's kind of the thing.
Yep.
But I guess just while we're on this, we'll come back to the insanity that is a Google rep. But we already got on this topic. I mean,
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
for people which I don't want a 2 hour podcast where we ramble about nothing. No offense to those podcasts, but not gonna name anybody. That's someone else's style. That's fine. But yeah, we'll come back to the craziness. But for people that haven't been in PPC forever, or they can't tell an expert from junk. I mean, who do you recommend? Who do you like as a PPC expert? Who is, we're saying Google reps, it doesn't work. The beginners, it's a call center. It's like, okay, then where do you go? If you're a business owner, you're an in-house marketer, you do work at an agency, and you want to get better at Google.
Oh, there's so many. I'm totally gonna leave out so many deserving people. But of course, you named the Solution 8 guys.
Yeah, they're great.
Um, they're a must-watch. Their YouTube channel is amazing.
Yeah,
And I mean, John is he's I think the brightest mind in PPC by far.
he is brilliant.
He
Yeah.
It's scary. Like I've learned more in the last year just watching his videos than I ever did before, like when I was working on accounts.
Yeah, He does
8
that
hours a day.
power hour thing. I think that one's his.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one. But also, like his LinkedIn content is super valuable. Everything he does is great. Then of course there's Miles McNair
Yeah.
and Bob Meyer from PPC Mastery. Um, Solid guys, super nice guys. Valuable content. Um, I think for beginners, Jill Saskin Gales
Yeah.
is a must follow. Um, then of course there's Amalia Fowler,
Mm-hmm.
Julie Friedman Beccini,
PPC chat. Yeah.
PPC chat on Twitter. Well,
They get moved to Slack
that's
actually.
yeah. That's another ongoing development. Be interesting to see where that ends up. Like,
Kind of like the Slack. I've seen it in there and it stays there. Whereas Twitter, it just scrolls. Slack, you can I get message. I post something a week ago and someone will do a private message. That's kind of cool. Where Twitter, it seems to, once
yeah,
it's posted, it's gone, forgotten.
I don't think so though. So the pros of Twitter are, especially for PPC chat, I think, is that it's so open source and accessible.
Hmm.
Uh, Especially for the lurkers, so people who don't want to get involved, but they can follow the hashtag, right?
Yeah.
So if you move that away from Twitter into Slack or onto Discord, then the barrier to entry will be much higher. So, you need to set up an account, and people
True.
probably don't want to be in too many Slacks at the same time. And I've seen it. The Slack isn't as active as Twitter, and the Discord isn't as active as Twitter.
Yeah.
So that's a clear con in my mind. I love PPC chat. I've met
Yeah.
so many great people on there.
Yeah. PPC chat's really good, and
Yeah,
I've
sure.
been following that. I don't even know since it was Matt did it at the time the PPC Hero thing, which I think they renamed it like 3 times. Brain Labs brought them, or what, long time ago when they did PPC
Mm,
chat. And
yep.
Twitter, when you got on it, it was mostly just PPCs kind of talking technical stuff. Now it's just flooded with everybody, which is good and bad. Some solicitations, but some beginners can just make a Twitter and you're right there with some of these people are regular conference speakers or published,
Mm.
or you're right there talking with them.
That's the good thing. Like, you could totally hit up Brett Geddes or
Yeah.
or Mike Ryan and ask them a question on Twitter,
And they
and
answer
usually they,
it.
of course,
Or
that's
maybe their
super
assistant,
accessible.
but it's
Yeah,
answered.
who knows? Who knows?
I
I
think
mean,
I think it's them. I really think it's them because
I think so.
it's
I
not
think so too.
thank you. They'll reply and it's an intelligent reply. It's like, okay, that's
Yep.
that's likely them or someone very knowledgeable in PPC, which would be an interesting
Sure.
assistant to hire. But I think it's them.
Yeah, I think so too.
So that's good to see. Do you do you follow the conferences much? Because SMX does have, or Brighton SEO. That's more European on that
Yeah,
side. Any
yeah.
any of those? A lot of them went online. What are your thoughts on those?
I do. I totally do SMX Advanced every time it comes around. There's the one that's free
Hmm.
every year. I always do that. I wish there was still HeroConf, but that's now sadly
Yeah.
defunct. I used to go there when I was still employed. All expenses paid work trip to London. That was amazing. Um, I used to do SMX, but for my liking, that's a little bit too all over the place. So I much prefer the PPC only conferences where you can really dig deep and talk to PPCs basically.
Yeah.
Whereas I think the SMX one is more, SEO, social, analytics, PPC, UGC, and now
Yeah.
the latest rage with all the chatbots and Bard and ChatGPT and stuff like that.
AI. Yeah.
AI everywhere.
I think, yeah, sometimes they have to kind of play to that crowd. They have to go with the buzzwords, and it's like, can we talk about something besides AI? Or it's like, here's another presentation about Performance Max. It's like we've all read it, and many of us published our own things about Performance Max. It's like we
Yep.
we understand it, but it's such a buzzword. It's like, hey, look, Performance Max and AI. I mean, it's kind of like saying big data and the Internet of Things, and web.
Yeah.
What
Web
are we on? Web
3.0.
we're on Web 3.0 because we all care. Um, that's more people outside of the industry use those words. Like I don't think I say Web 3.0 in my day to day. But yeah, I mean they have to throw in those buzzwords. I like advanced a little bit better. The other ones it's kind of hit or miss, and that's
Yep.
fine. They need beginners, or it's the C-level people or the vice president of marketing will go see a Google Ads presentation and just kind of get a bird's eye view of what's going on. So it's not a
Yep.
takeaway for someone that's actively managing accounts and a lot of them and 10 years of experience, but that's more so for the decision makers. And a lot of those speakers, they'll get referrals after that, or people will reach out after they speak at someone. It's a way to get clients, and it's like I
Yep.
I, I get that. That makes sense, but I understand what you mean. Sometimes as someone experienced, the generic one is it's not as deep.
Yep.
That's why they
Totally.
have two. The advanced one for advanced people, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, all right. Well, yeah, those are some good resources. Well, I'll post a bunch more stuff in the description because there's a lot of lists that I saved that other people like. I think Miles did one a week or two ago. Just a good 30 people to follow. Solutions 8 did
Yeah.
one. So I'll kind of borrow theirs and add some that we talked about and some that I like. Um, we'll post a list down, kind of who. Okay, you can't trust Google reps. We've established that very thoroughly. It's like
Oh
who
yeah.
do you trust? It's like we'll post that. We'll get not just say you can't trust them. Good luck. We'll post who can you trust. We'll put that in the bottom. Make sure there's a follow up. Um, okay, so it's circling back to help the YouTube algorithm, I guess. So okay, we got yeah watch time. I don't know. I'm a PPC. I don't know YouTube. Um, so we got the job. You don't need digital marketing experience. You manage
Yep.
330 accounts. I wrote the goal is mostly the adoption of auto apply recommendations, optimization score. So that pays
Yep.
24,000 a year, which that is what it
Correct.
is. That's pretty low level. So um, I guess let's go into the questions because that was the eye opening thing of a job offer from them. We could assume that's accurate, but the so that was shocking. And then the other part, the interview, the anonymous interview with someone that worked there.
Yep.
That was unreal. I mean, I mean, I grabbed a few bullet points. What are some things that stood out from that to you? I mean, you did the interview.
I think basically what stood out is that he confirmed everything that I'd written in the first post, and he gave context. So absolutely, the main objective for Google is to have advertisers adopt their so-called best practices. So optimization score, auto-applied recommendations, broad match, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, but contrary to popular belief, it's not just to increase Google's revenue. Of course, that's a nice side product, but that's one of the points that stood out to me in his answers. The main objective is to gather more data to train the AI.
Huh.
So effectively, if you think of it, it's like small advertisers footing the R&D bill for Google.
Yeah. I think the big advertisers could take that hit. If Geico wastes $50,000 on
Yeah,
Performance Max for lead gen or some other terrible idea, what do they
only
care?
to find out.
Yeah.
Exactly. Then at least they tested it and then they see if it works or it doesn't work. But that's not gonna put their business out of, that's not gonna put them out of business.
Well, and they got some
But
clicks. I mean, it's something
yeah,
to
for sure.
Nike and all these other giants, AT&T. They got
Yep.
clicks from people. That's something.
Yeah.
But for a local plumber or something where the business is three people and it's family owned and operated, it's almost like how do you sleep at night? That poor business owner took all the money they had and you ran it straight into the
Yeah.
ground, and now I don't know. They need to buy mailers or something, or well, the yellow pages aren't around anymore. I don't know. Google didn't work.
That's
What are they
that's
supposed
a
to
bit
do?
scary, right? Yeah, yeah. We don't know. I mean, but also in the answers, I think that anonymous ex teleperformance rep said that most of the guys after a certain period of time in that organization realize what's going on. So
Yeah.
even if they didn't have prior digital marketing experience, they quickly get to grips with the reality of what they're suggesting. And then of course it's another story whether or not you try to be a bit more ethical about it, or if you try to hit your quarterly targets regardless.
Yeah, and I thought that was interesting. One of the questions, how do you justify that small business owners are only consulted based on reaching internal sales target? I find that unethical. And he just flat out said they don't justify it. They don't care. People who actually
Yeah,
tell you to turn on auto reply recommendations on the phone either know it's a bad move and they don't care. They just want their bonus rather than, well, let's get through that. Make sure I quote it for you, but
yeah, yeah.
but care more about their bonus than your marketing budget, or they are unskilled that they're so unskilled they honestly don't know that it's bad. They only have the information from Google. I mean, this is who is calling people 2 or 3 times a day, saying, I'm from Google, kind of, and I'm the expert. Listen to me. You need to
Yep.
spend more. It just reminds me of, just a shady car repair place. Now, some of them are great and they're honest. Some of them say, this person doesn't know anything about cars. I'm going to sell them
Mhm.
$3,000 for some part I'll just make up, and they don't know any better, and we're going to
Yeah.
make a ton. Or any business you
Hey,
want to make up. People just
yeah.
taking advantage of people that don't know any better to make money.
Yeah, and it was also my hope when I started this whole process of applying that I was going to get some answers and I was going to be able to put them on the internet, and hopefully that was going to be my contribution to the PPC community, for going forward. And if people are being approached by third-party reps, you can always pull out this resource and send it to your clients and be like, hey, sure, we can talk to these people if you absolutely insist.
Yeah,
Here's what's going to happen, and they're going to suggest A, B, C. Read my lips. And sure enough, every call, it's going to be exactly like that
yeah,
because it's just a script.
and they do call our clients. When we don't answer, they call our clients, and then most of that'd be the advice. Talk to your clients in advance because Google will call them as official Google and make them panic. There's red flags, there's alerts. We have to address this. It's a crisis. It's everything's on fire. They use whatever wording they can. And we've gotten calls from clients. Google says everything's broken. We need to fix this. Auto apply recommendation, AI, big data, Web 3.0, and just all this junk. It's like, oh, hold on. Okay, let's. Luckily, most of the time, just a quick thing. I say optimization score goes up if you spend more money. It is a worthless metric. It goes up if you dismiss it. It is a worthless metric.
Exactly. Exactly. Optimization score isn't AI by any means, by the way. It's just a checklist going through all the dumb things that Google recommends. Have you set up a RLSA? Have you RSA?
Yeah,
Have you what have you? I losing my words here. But
broad
yeah,
match.
um,
Yeah, the usual.
broad
They all
match
have
like
the same
yeah,
script.
yeah. Smart bidding, another big
Hmm.
one, of course. Performance max,
Yeah.
um, and the more points are ticked on that list, the higher optimization score. Sure. But it'd be my recommendation for every PPC specialist listening to this or watching to be very proactive with your clients and tell them, hey, there's a high probability that someone from a third-party vendor is going to get in touch.
Hmm.
Please don't make any changes without consulting me first, because things are bound to get worse probably. We can, talk things over and see what these people suggest, and I'll give you my thoughts on that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean,
And don't fall for any scare tactics.
mhm. Yeah, because they do use them. So for business owners running it yourself or in-house marketers, that's your job at a big company. I mean, they can mainly just ignore it. There's not really much
Yep.
to learn. And then for ad agencies, talk to your clients about it, or freelancers, talk to your clients in,
Oh
in
yeah.
advance so they know, hey, this is probably going to happen. If Google, official Google reaches out to you, let me know.
Yep.
So that's definitely a good safeguard. I mean, I can't believe just
Absolutely.
looking at some of these questions. You know, they had that one was very interesting. That it's not just spending more money; it's gathering more data for the AI, which is kind of Solutions 8 thing. It's like, what is Google doing with all of this data? Why do they have to feed their machine? It's just, yeah, I was surprised that happened. Or switching extended text ads to responsive search ads and ETAs to RSAs.
Yeah, I mean that was a thing like 2, 3 years ago.
Yeah, well, when it
Um,
was happening.
yeah, I mean, realistically, that would have given early adopters a quite nice performance boost, probably.
Probably, but we actually go against a lot of the mainstream things. There's a few
Yeah,
accounts
yeah.
that have extended text ads still in them, and we always test an RSA next to it, and the RSA gets
Mhm.
destroyed. I almost it's almost embarrassing to the client. Like, yes, you still have an extended text ad,
Mm,
but it every time the like for lead gen the cost per lead is triple if not quadruple on the RSA. I can't justify
yeah.
pausing an ETA just to pause it. We do A/B test it, and an RSA and some accounts have never beaten the
Mm.
ETA.
I'm seeing this a lot too, to be honest. I think it's due to ETAs, or they used to have only two headlines, then ETAs had three.
Yeah,
I think they'd been tested thoroughly, A/B tested for years
yeah,
for you to come up with that specific ad.
that's true.
So
It's a
yeah,
very old ad, so it's
it's a
tested
very
and
old
you
ad.
can't
The
really
only
beat it. And when you pin it, because we tried to duplicate it, I'll
Mhm.
just pin it and make the same
Yep,
thing. And the one that's pinned to mimic it flops. It's like, well,
it's
okay, I don't know what
frustrating.
to do
Yeah, yeah.
now.
Yeah, same thing here. The other frustrating thing is that when you have an ETA and an RSA running next to each other, the ETA gets so little impressions compared to the RSA.
Yeah, it won't
It's not
favor it.
it's not even it's not even funny anymore. Like even
Yeah,
if Google is supposed to know the ETA is gonna murder the RSA, it's still not getting the majority of the impressions.
so some of these we've tested RSAs over and over and over, probably for a year and a half. Some of them we just stopped putting RSAs in there. There's only an
Yeah.
ETA, and as long as it will still get volume, because that's what a lot of experts have talked about. Suddenly, your impressions tank.
Yeah.
But some of them still get volume, and when it's a $10 CPA compared to an $80 CPA, it's like, well, I'm just going to leave it in there until you take it
Sure.
out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure.
So
Or
that's
until client changes the website and suddenly you can't change the final
you
URL
have
anymore.
to edit it. It's like, oh man, there it goes.
Oh,
They got to
why do you
redesign.
have to do that?
Yeah, it's like now, or they're like, let's run a special. It's like, then I have to rewrite the ad. Let's not for that 10% off coupon. Let's not do it.
Yeah,
Uh,
let's not do that.
but
Absolutely.
yeah, it's unbelievable. They just push new products or Performance Max for a while, which it's been talked to death. It has a place for some accounts that have a lot of test budget. They're mature accounts that are running
Yeah,
everything else, probably e-commerce. That's kind of the new conclusion. Not everybody and anybody should do it all day, which is kind of how they launched it.
I tend to agree. Yeah.
We were
Yeah,
running it with
absolutely.
some e-commerce, with some success, but they have to have the test budget. But yeah, and anyway, we've gone a while here, so
We
just
digress all the time.
yeah, just shocking to see all of this. Just thanks so much for doing this and publishing that. I mean, everybody's thought about doing it, but no one had the guts to, and no one did it. You
I
finally did it and documented it all.
I can't believe no one ever done this before. Or maybe they've done it and just never published. I have no idea.
Yeah, well, thanks for doing it and publishing it. Want to make sure I've seen it gets a lot of comments and retweets and reposts. Keep the momentum going. Maybe
Sure.
the ads liaison reads her messages. I don't know. Tag her. See if
She
you get a
does. She
response.
does.
Oh, good. Okay.
Oh, like if in defense of Ginny, she's great. She's really
She
great.
is
She's
great.
helped me
She's
out.
forced into a
She's helped
tough
me out a ton.
position.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the gripe that she gets, and the hostility almost, during some of these AMAs she does on Twitter and
Hmm.
Reddit, um, it takes thick skin, I think, to be in her position. So yeah, kudos to Ginny.
Yeah, no,
Absolutely.
she's doing a good job, and her background is good. I think she's having to answer to both. Google wants to do things one
Yeah,
way, and everyone else that uses Google wants to do it another way. And I hope they could
yeah.
bridge the gap more, because it is a large and loud outcry of a lot of problems that don't make sense, and they, because they're a billion-dollar company and so many people's businesses depend on being on Google, they do have higher standards, and they have a lot to answer for. If they want to be a smaller company and make a subpar support and product, that's fine. But it's like, well, you're Google, so you have very high standards, and we're going to push you hard.
See, but that's
Within
where the
reason. Don't harass them and go, cussing
yeah,
at
yeah.
them. But we should push hard and uh, make
We
sure things
should,
are
but
taken care of.
yeah, I don't think Google has to answer to advertisers. Google only
Interesting.
has so that's the discrepancy in opinion. I think that's interesting to me because Google only has to answer to their shareholders. And Google's job is to maximize that shareholder value. And Google's job is to hit or exceed targets every quarter, or forecasts. Um, and I think that's where many of these frustrations come from because we're still stuck in that world, from like 10 years ago where it was so easy. Of course, you had to know your stuff, but it
Yeah.
was easier. It was much easier to pick the best 100 exact match keywords,
Yeah.
do SCAG, write
Yeah.
compelling ad copy, have a good landing page, make money. That's not how it works anymore.
True.
Um, and granted, it's also due to a change in landscape and privacy legislation. GDPR is a big thing, has been a big thing in Europe for the better part of like 5, 6 years now.
Yeah.
And I believe in the States there's also legislation in California, I think, has pretty harsh
Hmm.
laws regarding privacy. It's another story if everyone abides by these laws, but yeah, at least the laws are there.
Yeah.
And so they've been forced into fuzzing up things quite considerably when it comes to conversion tracking, and that's where we get all the AI modeled conversions. And yeah, so the landscape has also changed, and that's what forces Google, I think, to force this adoption of AI driven campaigns like Performance Max. I don't
True.
think there's going to be a way back.
No, you can't go backwards, and a lot of it is the privacy laws, and Facebook ads people can comment on, and they comment. It used to
Yeah,
comment, "I hate this ad, stop following." Now it's, "This ad isn't relevant to me. Why am I seeing it?" It's like, well, because we can't track you anymore.
yeah,
The laws you put in place, I have no idea what you're interested in, and you get
yeah,
remarketed for a product you bought. It's like, because you have an iPhone and they didn't know you bought it. So you're
yeah.
gonna keep seeing it because you blocked it on your phone and your ad blocker. It's like,
Funny how that works, huh?
yeah, I love that. This ad isn't relevant to me. I don't own a restaurant. I don't do this. It's like, well, I don't know. I just blasted it to a whole area because our
I
tracking's
just,
gone.
yeah,
But yeah,
exactly.
that's a whole
And
nother.
the creative is the targeting these days, so
Yeah. So I mean,
deal with it.
they both took a hit on that, and
Yeah,
they have to adjust. And that, we could go on and on about that. Just kind of how
sure.
I would argue that's their product, and they do have to answer to advertisers because we're the ones putting the money in. You need a good product if you're selling software, if you're selling physical goods, a service, and almost ignoring complaints to a point. I don't agree with that. The Google rep issue has been around for a while, and the big players, the agencies that are managing millions and millions, they're frustrated with it, and that's, I appreciate you doing this, the digging into Google reps. It's like, look, this is annoying. Please, can maybe not call agencies, or I'd argue just not do it at all. But
Yep.
I think they do have to answer for some of it because that's their product that we're pouring money into.
Yeah, see, I agree with many of the things that you said, but they're not gonna, of course, they listen to the complaints, but they're only gonna listen to complaints if they come from multi-million-dollar advertisers.
And I think they have.
They
The partners
they could,
program, originally, you'd lose your partner's badge if you didn't keep your optimization score, and dismissing didn't count. And I think
yeah,
those
yeah.
$1 million players, not us, I guess, very, very large age. I wasn't at that. I wasn't at that meeting. But somebody with a lot of money and power pushed back because all of a sudden dismissing is okay. And
Yeah.
it originally wasn't. You would lose your badge. So somebody pushed back, and Google said, okay,
Okay.
you can be a partner if you hit dismiss.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Okay.
it's sometimes they listen if when they go a little too far. And auto apply recommendation is optional. I think some big players push back, and that probably will stay optional. And
Yeah.
some of the other, there's still manual bidding. I mean, they are meeting in the middle, and I think as long as they don't go too crazy with it, they'll keep people happy. And it's hard to just leave Google because where are you going to go? Um,
Hmm.
but I think they're meeting in the
Nice.
middle, and I think just pushing, we don't have to tag them and go crazy. We could be professional, but just things like what you did, just making this aware and safeguarding and balance it
Yeah.
and handle, again, always handle it professionally and ethically, but just keep it out there, keep the knowledge going. So marketing professionals and business owners alike can be informed and make the right decision. Like, hey, the Google Rep suggestions really aren't very good. Just
Yeah.
to be blunt and be aware of that. So I think that's a good point to close it out. Everything we discussed, put a bunch of links in the bottom. Kind of, I
Yeah.
think we established Google Rep suggestions aren't good. Who do you listen to and get education from? We'll post it down. Be sure to follow Boris. I'll put some more info in there. And just thanks so much for doing this interview. Really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me, Chris.
No
It
problem.
was
All right. You have a good
it was
day.
fun.
Thank you.
You too, man.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, everyone, thanks so much for watching our PPC ads training video. If you want more videos, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Like this video if you found it useful, and any questions, post them in the comments down below. We also have additional training in the description. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.